if you could go back to your first day you ever opened a broker and you made your first day trade, what would you tell someone?
Oh, wow.
Like, you because everyone remembers the first day of trading. I mean, I don't know if I remember my first time I was day trading, but I remember the first time sitting in front of my screens, like, all right, we're gonna do this. What advice would you give to someone? Like, simple
No,
advice. Doesn't have to be anything too
so
crazy.
I think what 2021 spoiled a lot of people with was that, you could be successful at this and get rich with this, overnight. And for a ton of people, that that was a reality. And, they have 8 days to unfortunately, or for whatever, to pay our wonderful government as a consequence of that reality. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, as much as that was a black swan event, people need to truly understand that that was a black swan event. There are not extended periods of time where, you know, 90% of traders win, because this is an industry where 90% lose. And if you want to separate yourself from the pack, it is straight up, it is screen time. It is such a boring answer to give people because they don't want to hear, oh, I got to spend hours and hours doing that. Yes, you do. If you want to be an expert at anything, what's the rule of thumb? You got to spend 10,000 hours doing it. It it's
Yep.
it, it's a it's just a reality. You know, people think that it's just something they can do in their spare time, and you can, but you got to earn your ability to do it in your spare time, if that makes sense. If you're going to do it in your spare, if you could hold down a full-time job and still trade. And I, for years, was an example of that. A lot of people I know are examples of
Yep.
that. But you got to, put the overtime in. And I guess if you're to what you're saying, for a very beginner trader, first day, what would you tell them if they saw something go from 2 to 4? You know, what kind of news was it? What kind of volume was it? What kind of float was that? Start taking notes. Start making a log of, okay, XYZ got this kind of press release out or no press release, and it moved, and it has an 8 million share float, and it went 100% today on this amount of volume. Okay, well, compare that amount of volume with prior days volume. What kind of relative, was it high relative volume? Was it, what made it move? I mean, if it goes so much as to you actually recording that screen and watching it and burning that into your brain, guess what? You're gonna burn that setup into your brain. You're gonna recognize it faster than other people next time. And I started off this podcast talking about your edge. Talk about an edge.
Yep.
Recognizing a setup faster than other people, there's your edge.
Hell yeah. Now, you mentioned note taking. Do you still take notes to this day? Because I have a watch list. I have like notes on like Thinkorswim and everything. I track everything just so I know. Like I can quick flip to a chart. I know what industry, like what's a flow, what made it move last time. Do you do
I
that kind of stuff, or like
I
keep a
take
mental note?
fewer literal notes than I certainly used to, but I think because I'm at this now for 8 years, um,
Yeah, you're an
I
OG, so
I know these names. I mean, there's not very often a stock that has news or that is just in existence that I haven't traded at one point or another. And like, I mean, it's almost sick. Like, you could probably name a lot of stocks, and I can give you a decent, probably within 10 to 15%, like what price range they're probably trading at, because I don't know. I just
yeah.
stay that familiar with them, so I don't necessarily have to take notes. I guess for me, and I'm not saying that that other people have to you know do the same thing, but to my first piece of advice, that that screen time, I did that. I got all the screen time in the world, so I'm able to recognize, certain setups a bit faster perhaps than some other people. And that's one of my edges. I'm able to read a press release, see, some key buzzwords that like to get bought up. And I know perhaps faster than, not everyone, definitely not everyone, but perhaps faster than most, that's a buyable headline, and that and then boom, the thing moves 50% pre-market. day done if I wanted to be, you know? So when those,
Hey, make your money and
yeah,
enjoy your
so when
day, right?
it
That's the
really
beauty of
is.
trading.
So when those things happen, if you're a beginner, study what made them happen, study how they happened, and get yourself familiar with it. You know, not every setup has to be one that already exists. I mean, any setup, you know, what you called a mid candle setup or the green goblin boner setup. These, I
You can
think,
use
well,
that
I
now.
think very obviously, these are setups that people created from recognizing a pattern. So guess what you can
Yep.
do? You can recognize another pattern, and you know another setup can form in front of your eyes that you know now that's your edge.